can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today's video, we're going to be talking about the Crimson Avenger. That's right, and technically not even the first one, not even the second one. We're actually going to be talking about the third iteration of the Crimson Avenger. We're going to break her down, her background, her powers and abilities, and some other interesting little side notes about her. Just about everything you need to know about this character in any meaningful fashion. We're going to talk about all that and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the video, I humbly ask that you Hulk smash that like button and share the video all over the internet with all your friends, because it really helps the channel out. With that said, let's talk about the Crimson Avenger. Crimson Avenger, real name Jill Carlisle, first appeared in Stars and Stripe #9 in 2000 and was created by Jeff Johns and Scott Collins. Jill is the third in a line of Crimson Avengers, a sort of spirit of vengeance in the DC Comics universe, bent on claiming justice for those innocents who have been murdered. Originally, she was a law student who prosecuted a case against a guy who was obviously incredibly guilty, and she lost. Afterwards, she became so obsessed with justice, she obtained a pair of Colt pistols originally owned by the first Crimson Avenger and used them to exact vengeance upon the criminal who escaped justice in court. Unfortunately for her, or maybe fortunately for her, who knows, depends on where you land on this, but these particular Colt pistols are cursed. If the wielder of these Colt pistols uses them to seek out revenge, they will forever be cursed to track down those who have taken an innocent life, and this is how she became a spirit of vengeance. This turned her into the Crimson Avenger, something that grants her powers and abilities and knowledge of the person she is avenging. This is to help her better understand what happened and help her more easily track down and eliminate her targets. Whenever she gains a new target, she mentally relives the death of the victim she is to avenge and is immediately teleported to the destination of the perpetrator. When she is given her next assignment, this also activates her abilities, something that she is unable to activate on her own. These powers make her intangible, allowing solid matter to pass through her body without harm. Unfortunately, this does not affect magic, so she is just as vulnerable to magic as anyone else is. This ability also does not affect her own bullets from the cursed Colts. Those would pass through her the same way they would pass through any normal human being, painfully. Though her intangibility tends to be active on more of a passive level, she can actually force herself to become intangible so that she can phase through walls and other solid matter of her own volition. She can also teleport, but not to anywhere she specifically wants to go. She can only teleport to the location of her targets. Some caveats to her abilities are similar to what I mentioned earlier. Her own bullets cannot pass through her without harming her. In fact, it is one of the few things on Earth that can harm her other than magic. She also cannot die by conventional means. This may not seem like a weakness, but once before, Jill did in fact want to end her life, and she was unable to do so, even using her own Colts. Despite them being able to harm her, she simply died and was immediately resurrected anew at her next target, and still bared the curse of the Crimson Avenger. Another thing that will always haunt her is the bullet wound in her chest. The bloodstain there is not an aesthetic choice on her part. This is an actual gunshot wound that will not heal and cannot be healed by any other means, even magical. It will always hurt and it will always bleed so long as she lives. Beyond being a spirit of vengeance, she is a moderately skilled lawyer. Her hand-to-hand combat abilities are also considered average at best. The Crimson Avenger is a spirit of vengeance, but the rules regarding the usage of her abilities and what people she avenges are nebulous at times. She can wind up being charged to protect someone who is not innocent. There have been times where she was tasked to avenge a person who was guilty of another crime, just not anything involved with harming another innocent the same way they were harmed. And sometimes even that can be worked around. This is actually what led to Jill trying to kill herself, realizing she can become a tool for evil just as easily as she could be a tool for good. The Crimson Avenger Colts are identical pistols that do not have triggers like normal pistols and never run out of bullets. They also never miss. These guns are fired instinctively against anyone who means the wielder any harm. The pistols are also thought to be sentient, or at the very least have a mind of their own, even if it's merely instinctive. Jill has mentioned having to struggle with the guns to keep them from shooting those she did not want to shoot, like her own teammates and friends. The bullets they fire can pierce any substance known to man, and as proof to this, her bullets have shot and injured both Superman and Power Girl, and the bullets have even penetrated the body of Captain Atom, who is effectively invulnerable. On an interesting side note, Jill Carlisle is originally from Detroit, Michigan. She is also a card-carrying member of the Justice Society of America, though when she first encountered them, it was not on good terms. The Crimson Avenger has actually been mentioned in comics outside of the main DC Comics universe. The moniker has been mentioned in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Black Dossier, but this is not the Jill Carlisle version they're talking about. And though prior versions of the Crimson Avenger have appeared in various media outside of comics throughout the years, Jill's version never has. Now, normally when I make these videos, I like to pick an actor who I think could play this character on the big or small screen, and in this particular instance, and I'm actually going to do something that may upset some people from when I recently did a video on Far Sector. A lot of people wanted me to pick Janelle Monáe to play Green Lantern Joe Mullen because of the similarity in hairstyle, which Janelle Monáe doesn't even normally wear anymore. But that said, I am gonna pick Janelle Monáe for this character of Jill Carlisle. You'll know Janelle Monáe from her illustrious music career, as well as the movies Moonlight, Hidden Figures, and Antebellum. Now, I also like to give a little bit of recommended reading. Now, with this particular case, Jill Carlisle as the Crimson Avenger does not appear in very many comics. Honestly, the only comic she really appears in with any regularity is JSA Volume 1. So I actually recommend you check out JSA Volume 1, number 33 through 37, where she appears probably the most regularly of any time you'll ever actually see her. However, I will go ahead and give you fair warning. She's rarely, if ever, the focus of any of these issues. She just kind of happens to be there. But that said, that is everything you need to know about the character of Jill Carlisle, the Crimson Avenger. She's a character who I remember always seeing in things or on things. Like I always would see her on t-shirts and posters and things of that nature, where usually lined up with other more prominent black characters in Marvel and DC Comics. But I always wondered why no one ever really took the time to do anything with her character and really flesh her out. I would always kind of hope that maybe one day someone could actually sit down with this character, come up with a battle plan for her, and get her back into the mainstream. And I think the time is now, but hey, what do I know? I just read comic books. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share this video all over the internet and with all your friends so they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to the Crimson Avenger. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Jill Carlisle, the Crimson Avenger. Have you always known about her, or are you today years old finding out about her? Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.